This is that data set. Okay. Again, Stanford University. This is through Statista, through friends, the bars and college and online. Actually, there used to be church and some other ones on there as well. You can see how people meet online. That is definitely a factor in all of this. So when we're looking at guys who are sort of dropping out, this is where that begins. So let's hide that and come back. And here we go. You guys still got me? You guys still got me? Am I still on? I think I'm still on, right? There we go. Okay. So here we go. Back to this. And online dating shares flaws with technologies. Let's see. Met up online. You saw that. Oh, we used to meet potential mates at school, at work, through friends, and out in the world. No longer. And online dating shares flaws with other technologies. This is kind of like the point that I think Matt Walsh was trying to make a while ago. Like, well, it's so dehumanizing. Here's what I love. This is the best part about that. You guys probably remember this. I took Matt Walsh to task for a video. He was talking about how people are just meeting other people online and selecting people by how they look and swiping left or right. Those people. No, Matt, that's women. Women are in the prime selective sexual selection position. And all of this, and I don't know how else to stress that, but again, that's what we're getting at here. So we're getting, like, when it's people doing this, when we don't say, we're not specific about who's making the sexual selections, who's making the decisions here. When we don't do that, we don't get the full picture on this. Online dating shares flaws with other technologies that scale our instincts. He's referring to social media. Algorithms are different to social interests, and that, coupled with human nature, gave us January 6th and QAnon. Sure it did. Thanks, Scott. Dating apps sort potential partners into a tiny... And yes, and that part right there with QAnon and January 6th should put things into perspective for you about Scott Galloway. And online dating, blah, blah, blah. Okay, dating apps sort potential partners into tiny groups of haves and have a titanic group of have-nots. Yes. On Hinge, the top 10% of men receive nearly 60% of the likes. And comparable figures for women is 45%. The bottom 80% of male Tinder users, based on percentages of likes received, are competing for the bottom 20% of women. If it were a country, Tinder would be amongst the most unequal in the world. This is the global sexual marketplace today. Now, last but not least, I want to show you the Gini coefficient for nations versus Tinder. This is really good. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay. Here we go. Gini coefficient for nations versus Tinder. As you can see, if you look at Denmark and Sweden versus the Japan, and then if you look at, so what's the Gini coefficient? This is the inequality versus the world ranking here. National income Gini coefficient. Okay. What is driving this division? As with so much else online, dating apps don't change human nature. They refocus it. Thank you, Scott. At least you got that part right. Like a kid with a magnifying glass melting ants, regardless of how we meet potential mates, we sort them in large part based on looks and earning potential. Wow. Does that sound like alpha fucks and beta bucks? Yes, it does. It's not just status. It's not just wealth. It's also looks. It's also game as well, which is greatly underdeveloped on Tinder when we have a buffer of technology between us. That very much limits game. So I'll talk about that later. But the thing I think is interesting here is he's actually acknowledging alpha fucks and beta bucks. Wow. So we're finally catching up to the red pill circa 2004. Regardless of how we meet, we sort them in large parts. Algorithms magnify that effect. Women are particularly concerned with the earning potential of future mates. Yes, but they select them based on the looks of that guy. In 1989, found that in 37 countries and subgroups, women consistently value financial capacity of a potential partner more than do men. Again, we're going back to the selectivity of women. They set the game. They set the tone. Briffelt's law? Yeah, okay. But we're also saying that society and the social order should prioritize women as the arbiters of reproduction. What did we just talk about a moment ago? Wow, how do men and women get together and create families? Proximate cause, ultimate cause. Well, ultimate cause, that goal is set by only one sex now. That's what these guys are not fucking realizing at this point. Okay, so let's keep going. In the US, financial prospects were nearly 30% more important to women than to men. Of course they are, because they're looking for long-term security. As I said, once women are beyond the hoe phase, that 18 to 28 demographic, that's when long-term security really becomes the highest priority for women. In a 2017 survey, 71% of American women said it is important for a man to support his family financially. Only 25% of men said the same thing about a woman. So we still have that. Is society saying that, or is that part of the machine? Is that part of the way our evolutionary firmware has prompted us, or given us proclivities to look at it that way? It's not just, oh, here we need to teach men to cry. We need to teach men to be to go against that sort of evolutionary programming. Well, unless it's 71% of women saying that it's very important for a man to support his family, then that's okay. Then we're good with that, because they're setting the sexual selectivity of that family creation that's so bloody important. In sum, women mate socioeconomically, horizontally and up, and men do it horizontally down. Congratulations, Scott. You've just described the clinical textbook Wikipedia definition of hypergamy.